On tonight's show on Fast Break here for IE Sports Radio, we'll discuss the Lakers woes. What can this team do to turn their misfortunes around? Is it coaching, player personnel, or just waiting everybody get back healthy? We'll discuss that. Plus, our own Dentarius was at the Pitt UNC game this past week. We'll discuss that game and discuss the live environment up in Pitt. Plus, we'll go over all the scores, news around the league. Also discuss Draymond's pending return to the Warriors. And the Warriors' issues with the Youngbloods right now. We'll discuss that and much more here on Fast Break Live on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all sports, and you're welcome to join us. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show tonight. Lots to talk about, lots to get into here on tonight's show. Thank you to the chat. Thank y'all for jumping in. We'll get to y'all here momentarily. I must say this. I'm tired from last night. I went to a basketball game last night, this high school basketball game last night, and the school that I went to root for played this Seventh Adventist church that got their own academy. The varsity game didn't start until at least about past 9 o'clock or so. Didn't get out of there till at least 11:30. Crazy. But I'm here. We're here for y'all. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. My Bucks made the playoffs, which is a good thing. It may be some other things that come with it, but excited about that. And I definitely feel you on the basketball game. And as you said, like I told everybody, we talked to everybody on Twitter, I was definitely at the North Carolina and Pitt game. And I know what that feels like to be in the game, the whole game, and then drive back. So, but definitely feeling excited and ready for the show.
Want to shout out to the chat. Shout out to Jim B. How you doing tonight, ma'am? Your Cavs are looking pretty good right now, and your Cleveland Browns have done a damn thing and won a division this year. So congrats to you and your Cleveland squads right now. And shout out to Taryn Rodriguez. How you doing tonight, sir? Taryn, I don't know if you're still in Dallas or not, but since the Cowboy made the playoffs, try and make it to a playoff game. Hook up our brother Drewski and get to a Dallas Cowboy playoff game. That should be like a bucket list for you to do next week. But anyways, D-Lock, there's a lot of ways we can go with tonight's show. But it seemed like a lot of news is coming out the Bay right now. And we got Draymond's pending return from suspension. But there's other issues coming about right now with this squad. Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga, two young guys on this show that we have discussed, could be or could have been the future or should be the future of this franchise. So much so that I, myself, could potentially replace Draymond Green and Klay Thompson in the fold. But that's really not really happened in about like year 3 for these guys. We have camps for both guys, Kuminga and Moody, D-Lock, saying they have lost faith in Steve Kerr and his staff. They don't know like where they are taking their young guys, how their progression is, yada yada yada. D-Lock, I'll pass the ball to you. First, let's talk. Let's tackle the young pup thing before we get to Draymond. What is the conclusion in your eyes that the Warriors do with Kuminga and Moody? Do they shower them with more playing time, or do they try and make a splash and try and and trade those two young guys to get some veteran assets in to maybe like make one more ride with the current core group in tow?
Well, with these, the Warriors are a team that we know have very high expectations. With Steph, Clay there, and how these guys say they're losing faith. We're not having to trust into Coach Kerr. But we are talking about a coach that's won multiple championships. So, for me, Brandon Podziemski, sorry if I butchered that, he's playing pretty well for them. Trace Jackson Davis is actually playing very good as well.
Yeah.
He's stepped up. Hell, I thought that them getting Sark, he was going to make a big piece, especially with Draymond's suspension. And Trace has Mr. Davis has taken a big leap and has played very well for them, taking that role. But with these guys coming in, Moody, they're in a position where you're on a team that have Moody is on a team that has a lot of guards. Kuminga's on a team that have guys that they can move around and play the forward with Wiggins, with Draymond, with Trace Davis now. Sorry. They got a lot of these guys. So these can possibly be trade pieces. Right now trying to give them their minutes. Hell, you've already you brought in a Chris Paul. Brandon is playing very well. Like these are the guys that have stepped up and taken advantage. Brandon has especially has taken a big role in the opportunity that was given to him. So for me, like, I would look to try to trade some of these guys. It could be to the point to where, these could be spoiled apples. And you don't want them to mess up what you have. Now, obviously, you got the leaders in the Steph, Draymond. But these guys are not good for the franchise now. We've never heard anything like this come out of that franchise. So that tells you a lot. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think that getting more minutes. There was a time last year when Kuminga had a hell of a lot. He had a hell of a lot of minutes. He started at one point with, injury to Draymond, and his production wasn't very, very impressive like that. Very inconsistent. So, for me, I think that these are pieces that you could move. I mean, very young guys. Teams will definitely take a look at them. Obviously, there's a few teams that wants to get that depth in different positions. Kuminga would be a big piece for somebody. And I think, like I said, I think he'll be a hell of a player. Young dude, you know what I mean? He's not even 23, 22 yet. So, for me, I think this is one of those pieces where, again, like if you do get a call from the right team, I definitely would consider, because the Warriors are a team that has very high expectations, and they've won in the past. So now to say that you lost faith or lost trust in what an NBA championship coach has put together, it makes me wonder, because you didn't hear Kevin Durant say this or never say anything like this. You've never heard Steph say this. You've never heard Klay Thompson come out and say some of these things. So that tells me that this could be a situation where maybe you move some of these players.
Into the chat. Oh, we'll get to the Lakers here in a little bit. I gotta get some things off my chest about the Lakers. But to go to this part right here, for me, we've been doing the show for a good hot minute. And when the Warriors had these draft picks to draft, what wound up James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody in that same draft, they had a chance to groom these young guys to be something special. Wiseman was kind of like a modern big and scoring and all that stuff like that. Kuminga was a project, but a project that you like to mold into a player that you would like. And Moody, come off a phenomenal freshman year at Arkansas, could come in and blossom, at no worse be like a six man for you. At no worse. But as time has gone on with these young guys, it just never really materialized. It really hasn't. Wiseman has already been shipped. Only played at least like a year with this team, year and a half. He missed one with injury, and it seemed like instead of T. Kerr letting the guy play, every time he did something wrong, he would take him out immediately. Kuminga, they really can't really see him find a role for him. Where it was that stretch 4 or 3 spot, it just never really fitted with him. And then Moody, they just kind of been inconsistent playing him, in which you kind of had a guy that could be a good scoring guard for you off the bench, but Steve Kerr never plays the dude. It's like Moses Moody and Cam Thomas are in the same boat in terms of their coaches kind of stunting their growth. You got Jock Vaughn over here, and I know Cam Thomas is shooting this slump, but is that a result of Jacques Vaughn not playing this dude consistently? And then you got this kid over here, Moses Moody, with Steve Kerr, who don't get no playing time like that. And really, the only time he gets real playing time like that is like somebody's out. And I can feel both camps, saying like, damn, these dudes are really screwing the pooch of our guys, and we got to get the hell out of Dodge. And it's good for them to recognize that and trying to get the hell out of Dodge. Yeah, it's cool to go to a nice organization like the Warriors and, win a ring and all that type of stuff, or be part of a winning culture like that. But damn, if you can't contribute to it or whatever, or you think you should be better than the guys they've been putting forward, then what are we doing here? I've been beating this drumbeat for a while for these young guys because I think my personal opinion, I don't think Steve Kerr can develop talent like that. Now, some of y'all probably say, "What about Kevon Looney and Jordan Poole?" Kevon Looney's just a garbage player. I mean, he does his role fine, but he plays about 22, between 22 and 25 minutes a game. He don't affect nothing like that. I mean, I'm not saying he does, but it's not. He'll affect the game one every about 25 games. We're being real about that. But other than that, under Steve Kerr's timeline, no real young dudes really stepped up like that. And you bring up, the two rookies they got now. The kid from Indiana, Trace. I had a first round grade on him on the NBA draft, and he fell all the way down to the second round. Yeah, it was a good move for the Warriors to get. Good young athletic guy, can play strong to the rim and stuff like that. Can finish strong there as well. Can at least work on his defense. But good pickup in the second round. The other kid for Santa Clara. Good. I mean, ain't gonna be no superstar or nothing like that, but a good solid role player for you. It can be in the year for years to come. But these other guys were in the lottery. That's the point I think I'm trying to hammer home. These guys that Wiseman, Kuminga, and Looney were in the lottery. And I say all lottery picks are home runs, but damn it, you got to at least hit one or two. You can't strike out on three. And now the Warriors D-Lock, they're in a situation like they sitting Klay Thompson down during games in crunch time. Draymond has progressively got worse as a basketball player. It's you still got Steph, but as we can tell, as we've seen, I mean, yeah, he can carry the load, but he needs some other pieces around him. And we see it, with the Warriors now. Yeah, they beat Detroit the other night, but it was only by 4 points. Steph Curry had 26 points. Shari's had 11. Kuminga played the most minutes out of everybody, but he only had 11.6 rebounds.
That's not good enough.
And true, not good enough. Especially a Detroit squad like this that you should be kind of showing and dominate that you can be that dude for this team. Bogdanovich is 12 years you're seeing. You gotta show him up. Isaiah Livers, solid guy. You gotta show him up though. Kevin Knox, guy been in the league for a little while, but you still gotta show him up. Alex Burks, great offensive, good offensive player, but if you guard you gotta show him up. So it's the young guys. I say this to y'all, Kuminga and Moody. If you get the opportunities, you gotta take advantage of them. If you don't, it seems like Steve Kerr ain't gonna play y'all, and he's gonna stick to what got him his 4 championship rings. And I hate to say it like that as well. I like those guys coming out of schools and stuff. But let me pivot to this question to you. Do the Warriors make a move on for these guys by the trade deadline?
I think so. I mean, because if Draymond can show that he's going to play and be there, that'll get him suspended. I think that at that point, again, it goes to it being a spoiled apple. This is not a Detroit team that is just trying to string some wins together. This is a Golden State Warriors team with Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame coach that has a goal in mind that they're trying to reach. And for me, I feel like you can possibly move some of those pieces and add on to what you need help with. You need another big guy, big man. So try to go find that. Another small forward, possibly. So I think that they'll leave the door open with them because it's needed. I mean, right now the Warriors are 10th right now. They're sitting 10th, so they're gonna have to make a move, man. They got to do some things along with a few other teams down there, but usually we always watch the beginning of the season, and the NBA season doesn't really, really kick off, and we see them getting their chemistry until January. So this is the time, and I believe for the Warriors to make that move, to play a hell of a lot better, they're gonna have to move on. I think at some point. I think they know that.
Let me ask you this: we're hearing Pascal Siakam is on the trade block. The Warriors, and we didn't talk about this last week, but the Warriors, they finally traded OG Anunoby to the Knicks for RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly. And some other players were involved with it, but that's the real base of the trade. With Siakam, on the trade block, and it's been rumored that the Warriors are kind of like a team look at him. Do you package up Kuminga, Moody, and throw in Andrew Wiggins to match up salary purposes, and maybe like a future first round pick or second round pick for Pascal Siakam, and maybe another additional piece? Do you like that idea, or you think they pivots elsewhere?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the one they may not want to give up, and that is Andrew Wiggins. So if there was a trade that they can get without giving up Andrew Wiggins, I think they will consider. But I think knowing they need a big man, I think that they do push that envelope. I think a name that wouldn't be surprised they move after is Miles Turner. And I feel like I believe Isaiah Jackson is getting a lot of minutes. Yeah, the Pacers are getting a lot of guys in their rotation. Sometime at Miles Turner, I believe Buddy Hield is also considered a trade option as well. So don't keep an eye out for that. Because Kevin Looney plays well, but I think sometimes if there is no Draymond down low, I think that bigs sometimes have their way against the Warriors, and that's something they need to fix. So Pascal, I think, would be a good pickup, but to move Wiggins, I think that's a piece that I don't think the Warriors would move away from.
I think they move Wiggins. If to get Siakam, I think they move Wiggins. I mean, I know they like him, I like him and all that, but I think they move Wiggins. Let me pose another question to you. I know Chris Paul's gonna be out for 4 to 6 weeks, and it's been all right with him there. You see them possibly shipping him and his salary to get something.
Oh, that's kind of tough. That's a good question. I don't. their guards are playing good, man. I think Brendan came in and was playing extremely well, and it makes it very, I would say, pretty tough for them to not move him. It makes it tough for them to keep Chris Paul because that's a huge, having your guards play consistent. I think that you're going to have to consider that. And to move Chris Paul, I feel like if they do that, it'll seem like they're panicking in my mind. Like they got Chris Paul for a reason, and I think that they should go ahead and let that ride out, at least a year and see what happens. But now, if it's a deal that they can't turn down, then it's a different story. But again, we're talking about a team that is known for getting the playoffs and getting to the NBA Finals. And I think that now they will do pretty much anything they need to be able to do that. Now, is there a way that they, a question just to throw out there? Do they try to make a move for Kevin Durant?
And that's another story coming out.
Yeah, because this Phoenix move is not looking so good right now. But again, I wouldn't rule out moving Chris Paul. I just don't think they do that right at this moment.
And let's be real. We talked about this in the show not too long ago. Like, if Draymond didn't push Kevin Durant the way he did, it drove him nuts. I'm not saying Kevin Durant would still be there, but I think Kevin Durant still be in with the Warriors as we speak. This was bad. He had it good. Let's be real about that. He had it good there. Him and Steph Curry on the same squad? Deadly.
Oh, yeah. Multiple championships, too.
One with Klay Thompson as like a third wheel? Deadly.
Very deadly.
And like we discussed in the past, I always came back to Draymond. He got away with so much that that the ownership really never came down on him, and they still kept him around. And it seemed like his actions at times at different points of this franchise, despite their winning, has kind of hurt their maximum winning even more with his actions at times. And that was one of those times. The Jordan Poole deal. Same thing. And they're trying to put the blame on that kid for how the season went last year, which was kind of wrong. But bringing up Draymond and stuff like that, what are your expectations of him coming back to the fold? The suspension's pretty much done. They report Shans, folks like that reporting like he still go through his counseling, all that stuff, meet once a week, all that good stuff. What are your expectations of him coming back to the Warriors? I know he's not coming back tonight against the Raptors. That's who the Warriors play tonight. But what are your expectations for him when he does return?
Well, I think Draymond is still going to be Draymond. I think he's still going to be that effective. He's going to bring the defense, which is what they desperately need. I think we're going to see him, be a smarter player. But the question is, how long does that last? How long do we see him be that player? I mean, how long are we going to see him be the player to just do things, be physical, and let them know, bring your presence? But how long are we going to see that? So I think Draymond is a hell of a piece for the Warriors. I think we're going to see them going over a huge winning streak. But how long does that last? That's the biggest thing. Because he didn't really, to be honest, he wasn't suspended that long. In my mind, he was. So I think that we're going to see him come out and make a big, you know, it'll be a big welcome for him because of what he can do and what he will do. But to me, I think that we're going to see him have an impact. But can he hold that? Uh, and hopefully now we will see him act right. But eventually, at some point, he'll do a little bit of responding to the refs, and they'll test him. I think he'll act better. I just feel like now it's about how long he can hold that. I think we definitely see a big change in that locker room, in my mind.
I think for me, real quick, I think he'll be on his best behavior for the rest of this month. And I'm real curious to see because he's one of those that's got to talk to the refs about any damn thing that happens. And you know what I kind of noticed going to these high school games and stuff? A lot of these kids, talk to these refs. And they get that from the older guys, like, you know, like LeBron, Draymond, wherever else you want to put there in today's league. You get that from them. Talk to the refs on that stuff. Like, you gotta stop doing that stuff. And that's one thing Grandma gotta do. He gotta stop doing that stuff. That's one thing I'm pretty sure they told him to do. Like, don't go talking to the refs. Don't. If you get mad about a call or whatever, don't talk to him. Go to the other side. Like you mentioned, they're gonna test him. And I wonder which referee crew they're gonna send out for him for his first game to test that theory. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a very interesting thing you brought up. Which referee crew they're gonna bring up, you know, for to test him to make sure he's reformed, quote unquote. So it'll be really interesting to see, you know, how he holds up on all that stuff. If he can come in, play ball, and just kind of be that team guy, I think things will be fine. But we have one more question before we get off Draymond and the Warriors. Do you see a possibility getting traded? If he come in plays well, all that stuff, or behaves well, or whatever, or he acts up anytime, do you see them moving off of him by the trade deadline?
No way. I feel like he's going to make an impact that they need, and I just want to see. At first, I would think so, but for him being part of that big three, I just don't see it. I think he'll make a bigger impact. Let's start winning. I think they move off other pieces before him.
I think it just I think the slightest hiccup, I think they move off of him. I think this is I'm not saying this is like his last chance, but they treating it like his last chance. And I think if something happens, he acts up, whatever, then I think they ship him off. But that's just my personal opinion on that. But moving on from the Warriors and their issues and stuff like that, let's get to today's scores right now. In overtime, we got the Hawks down to the Magic, 110 to 117. We got Trae Young and Deontay Murray with Trae Young 31 points, Deontay Murray 24 points, 18 off the bench for Bogdanovich. We're down with 17 seconds left to go in that game. For the Magic, Paolo Banchero, 35 points, 10 rebounds for him. With 25.
He been cooking.
Oh, yes. And he should be getting an All-Star nod this year. If he doesn't, I will cut somebody out. But Caleb Houston for your Orlando Magic, 25 points for him, 7 for 14 with 3-point land for him. Mo Wagner, 15 points, 7 rebounds for him. I want to give shout out to Mo Wagner. When they played the Nuggets the other night, he had a good health of defensive plays back to back against the Nuggets, especially against Joker and that last defensive stop. He played pretty well, played well on the switches, and had a great defensive stand. So I want to shout out him against that game against the Nuggets. He played great defensively down that stretch. And it seemed like the Magic just finished up that game, so they had won against the Atlanta Hawks. So the Magic go to 20-15 in the year. The Atlanta Hawks 14-10. Any thoughts on your Magic winning tonight against the Atlanta Hawks?
I mean, right now I can tell you that this team is cooking very well. I mean, they're putting together some very, very good wins. You're battling very good teams and these are games that this same Magic team would have lost last year. But now that they're putting them together, find a way to get these wins. I think that this team can really be something special. They're very young. Like I said, getting Caleb Houston in there. They're actually coming back from a little 3-game skid that they had before this after beating Denver. But they're actually, like I said, playing pretty well. They have to be consistent with that. But the biggest thing that I like about how they're playing, this is going to attract free agencies in the offseason. And that's one of the biggest things that the Orlando Magic could not have or have not done in the longest. I'm not talking about getting the Joe Ingles or a few, small name players. I'm talking about, the big time free agency that are considering, going to the Warriors or to the Suns or to Sacramento or to Denver, or to Miami. Now, Orlando can continuously show what they're capable of and what they can be. Now, when offseason comes around, you can attract all these other big time names. We just got to go out there and handle it. And I know it's early, but I would definitely hope that front office start working on a deal with Banchero. Don't be waiting to the last minute like you did with all the other great players that we had in Orlando. Start getting that shit done now, because this is what we always see. You have a rookie come in and play extremely well, then he goes somewhere else. I'm already getting jokes with my friends telling me that Banchero is going to be in purple and gold in the next 4 or 5 years. And I hope that doesn't happen. So I'm loving everything that I'm seeing. I just want us to continue to build with that. If we can build, and I think this Magic team could be very special, and also, like I said, attract other names to join Orlando, because right now that definitely doesn't happen. But big win, definitely needed. Back on the winning side, a couple winning streaks. I think we got the best team in the West right now, and the Timberwolves coming up the 9th on Tuesday. So hopefully we can follow up with that. Another dub.
Yeah, I think y'all playing pretty well, this season, and you're playing against the team against the Hawks. They still trying to find themselves, and team of the Hawks that they got a fork in the road. There's rumors about them trying maybe make some moves. Kid Capella, Deontay Murray, AJ Griffin. Guys will be hearing in trade rumors and stuff like that for this team. Quinn Snyder, who I thought with this roster will do some things, it really hasn't turned like I imagined. And Jalen Ramsey got burned. But anyways, some had to fall and some had to rise, and your Magic has risen to the top. But I predicted that like at some point in time you gotta take that leap. And for them, they took in that leap. But I'll say this: I think Pancaro will stay with the Magic. Yes, the Lakers are glitz and glamour, but shit, you got to pay a lot of taxes out of California. And you know this as a Florida resident, no state income tax, all that stuff. Now, granted, you can speak to this better than me. The property tax and stuff are kind of high, but there's one thing Mr. Pecaro got to look at, like the money. If I could say and make the money while this young team's looking good, why do I want to leave? Just my opinion. Other scores that wrapped up today. The Pelicans beat down the Kings 133-100. CJ McCollum had 30 points, 7 for 10 for him for 3-point land. No Zion Williamson in this game, but no problem for the Pelicans. 14 points off the bench for Dyson Daniels, 12 points for Jordan Hawkins off the bench. For the Kings side of things, not much happening. Kevin Huerter had 17. Keon Ellis had 13 off the bench. Sabonis had 17 and 10. But Sabonis couldn't take advantage of Zion being out, and he went up on 17 points. De'Aaron Fox, 3 points for him in that game, and poor shooting night for him. Just pitiful. Pitiful for him. The Trailblazers win overtime against the Brooklyn Nets, 134-127. 38 points for Anthony Simons, 21 points off the bench for Shaedon Sharpe. Malcolm Brogdon, 18 off the bench as well. 27 points for Jeremy Grant for the Blazers, and for the net side of things, 42 points for Mikal Bridges, 10 points and 10 assists off the bench for Dennis Smith Jr., who's been playing pretty well for the past week. He had like a 10 rebounds off the bench last game they played. 9 points for our boy Cam Thomas, and 5 lonely points for Spencer Dinwiddie. I would say this: Spencer Dinwiddie has kind of really been a disappointment in his return to Brooklyn. Like, I'm glad the Lakers didn't make a move for him. The way he's been playing for the past 3 years, it's not been like exciting return, in my humble opinion.
It hasn't. I mean, I agree with you there. Seems like this is not the one that we seen when we seen him years back. It just doesn't seem the same. So I'm not sure what they do. We're looking at a lot of teams. We talk about the trade deadline with other teams and them making moves for other players. Do we see Dinwiddie possibly being moved as well? Hell, he's been saying it for months that Cam Thomas needs to be in the starting lineup and needs to get the full run and let him take over. Well, maybe this is something that Brooklyn considers because we know what Cam Thomas can be and what he will do. We talked about it draft night when they drafted. So now your opportunity is coming around to figure out what you're going to do. Dinwiddie is not looking as we expected. Do they move Dinwiddie? I think there's numerous teams again, looking to help or need help, at the guard position. Could Brooklyn get a call? Because to your point, he has not looked like what we've expected.
So yeah, I just think kind of like the hunger is gone a little bit. Like you're talking about an undrafted dude, bounce around a little bit, had a scrap and claw, and then you get to like a place in Detroit, you play pretty well. Get to Brooklyn, really kind of had a coming out party, and then you tore the ACL and stuff like that. But I just think everything's got paid. The hunger kind of gone away. You worry about trying to get his money converted to crypto and all this stuff, in which we kind of see how that thing is kind of falling off. But yeah, the Nets, they just one of those teams that kind of in the same boat with the Atlanta Hawks. Teams we kind of expected to be a little bit better, but they really haven't improved much. But the Blazers get the win on the road there. Let's see where we're at. Oh, Cavs. They beat the Spurs 117-115. 29 points and 16 rebounds for Jared Allen. Strong night for him. 17 points for Donovan Mitchell. 23 off the bench for Caris LeVert. Sam Merrill, 18 points off the bench for him as well. Victor Wembanyama, 24 points, 10 rebounds for him. 22 points for Vassell as well. And I noticed on a lot of these box scores and stuff like that for the Spurs, the assist ratio, like nobody's averaging more than 5 assists a game. The only one that's like close to 5 is Tyus Jones. It's like 4.9. Like nobody's averaging like 5 assists with this Spurs squad. And that's really, really concerning for me, in my humble opinion. And Pop should know better than that as well. But going back to the Cleveland side of things, I saw this on Bleacher Report, and I'm not saying it's gospel, but with the Kuminga, Moody issues and stuff like that, one trade proposal was for them going after Jared Allen. The Warriors going after Jared Allen and trading the 2 young guys there, along with Andrew Wiggins. Could that be a good solid move for the Warriors to do? To go off of Jared Allen and then move, and for the Cleveland side of things, move Mobley to the 5 in that department?
I would love that. I mean, I feel like Jared Allen is showing. We've seen this when Jared Allen was in Brooklyn anyway. But Jared Allen has already. I feel like Jared Allen is one of the better centers in the league. Um, if he goes to Golden State, that'd be a perfect situation. Where you got your forward in Draymond, and then you got your guards. I mean, you're seeing something very similar. If you see Cleveland is trying to build that same mold, um, but I don't care what nobody tell me. Steph Curry, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell is not Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. I'm sorry, it's not. They're not. So if you do add in the Jared Allen there, again, it'll be tough to get off Andrew Wiggins. Very tough. But I'm not mad at the Jared Allen move, man. I mean, I think he's like I said, I think he's one of the better centers in the league. Um, the reason why I would be more inclined by that move than Siakam is because Siakam plays the four. You know, he's a very similar plays the four. He's not locked in on playing the five like a Jared Allen. You know, Jared Allen is the complete center, and I think that's what Golden State really needs. It would make a huge impact with. So for me, I mean, shoot, man, hey, you offer me, you want Wiggins, you give me Jared Allen. You might that might sound like a nice little deal right there.
And Miss Jen in the chat is saying, no, they can't have JA. I get it. As a Cleveland fan, you don't want him to go, but to maybe maximize the potential and play of Evan Mobley, you may have to come off of him. I know Mobley's out right now, but if you kind of look, I mean, the two big man thing, if we're talking about the year 2000, yeah, you're not making this move. Of course not. Because, you have different rules and different time in that game, in the game of basketball in the NBA. But, today's NBA, you may have to, I mean, it's, like I said, hypothetical move, but you may have to look at it. And for the Warriors, to get a guy like this, still under 30 and stuff like that can control the paint, play solid defense for you, and is a lot taller and bigger than Kevon Looney, that's a play you got to make. If those sides start talking. So, like I said, it's a hypothetical trade. We don't know what's going to happen or not. But the Warriors, they got to start looking at options. They got to start, looking and see what they can do to make the team better. If they trying to sort of ride out this veteran squad, then that's like one person I would look at to possibly making a deal. And Jen saying, I love Evan, but I don't know if he's ready. He did it so well for a while, while JA was out. Yeah, that's true. And it seemed like it's like if one big man's out, the other one plays well, and the other big man's out, the other guy's playing well. It's just like you get those two guys together, it's got to be that consistent thing. And if that consistent thing is there, along with the help of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, we talk about one of the better teams in the NBA. And to go along with Max Strus and the way he's been playing, that's a hell of a starting five. But it been so far in between, these guys been in and out the lineup with injuries. Never gonna see that full potential. May not see that full potential of this Cleveland squad. So we'll see. Like I said, nothing, saying that, out on the trade block, but you never know, in the NBA. Other scores going on right now. The Timberwolves are down 3 to the Mavericks, 64-61. That's going on in the third quarter right now. Anthony Edwards has 18 points so far. Karl Anthony Towns 15. Gobert working on another double-double, 9 points, 13 rebounds so far. Naz Reid out the bench for 9 points for the Timberwolves. For the Mavs side of things, Luka got 17 points. Kyrie has 19 so far, leading the Mavs. The Grizzlies up 4 on the Phoenix Suns. We're Bradley Beal back in the lineup again. For the Grizzlies side of things, 18 points for Jaren Jackson. No John Morant 40 up for the Grizz tonight, but Marcus Smart has 8 points for them, 10 points off the bench for Williams Jr. For Phoenix side of things, 9 points for Kevin Durant, 10 points for Nurkic, 5 for Bradley Beal, 11 for Devin Booker, 8 points for Grayson Allen. They had hell of a shooting night the other day as well. And then the Pistons and the Nuggets are at halftime. The Nuggets up 65-57. 10 points for Bojan Bogdanovic. 13 points off the bench for Alec Burks for him so far. Kate Cunningham only had 3 points so far. Not looking good. For the different side of things, Jokic only had 4 points so far. Jamal Murray, 24 points for him. 11 points for Michael Porter Jr. And Reggie Jackson got 7 points off the bench. But I want to get to this game here, D-Lock. The Clippers and the Lakers play tonight. The Clippers started out pretty bad with James Harden in the fold. Didn't look good. People make fun of him. We didn't know it was going to work out, all that stuff. But after that losing streak, they kind of found themselves. And so much so, they had gone on a nice little winning streak. I mean, yes, they lost a couple games here and there, but they had kind of found themselves right now. They have won 5 straight, so far. They beat the Pelicans last game on the 5th. They beat the Suns on the 3rd. And the first of the year, they beat the Miami Heat. They play a Lakers team tonight, D-Lock, that has kind of fallen off a little bit. After the season tournament win, things had not been looking good for the Los Angeles Lakers. Some people have questioned the play of some of the players, but I think more people are turning their attention to Darvin Ham and his rotations and stuff like that and play calling. I watched the game the other night, D-Lock, the Heat and the Lakers. Late in the fourth quarter, for some odd reason, Mr. Darvin Ham put Jalen Hood-Schifino in the game for Austin Reeves. Now, why would he do that? I don't know. Jalen Hood-Schifino is a nice young player. But somebody you don't put in the last 6 minutes to kind of look for something. And Miami, that veteran crew, took advantage of that and kind of pushed them over to win that game. So much so that a lot of people were just dogging Darvin Ham after that game. You got this game against the Clippers tonight. How do you foresee things going in this matchup? Can the Lakers use this game as a way to kind of turn things around and find themselves? Or do the Clippers kind of keep on continuing their role and win 6 straight tonight?
I think that this is going to be, as you know, a very huge Battle of LA game. The Lakers need to get back on track. They're going to need Anthony Davis to wake up, play very consistent. But more importantly, their guards are going to have to play a big role. We talked about the whole James Harden thing. A lot thought that it wasn't going to work. We kind of laughed and were like, "Well, hell, why would you go there? Why would you go there?" And this, that, and the third. And they're starting to get things rolling. So this may be another. This also may be a team that is going to be on the lookout for a center, I believe, before trade deadline. So look out for them. But I think that the Lakers now need to get things rolling. They're in the same situation as the Golden State Warriors, I believe, sitting at 11th right now, right behind the Warriors, with high expectations. Uh, and the thing about the in-season tournament, yes, it makes them, teams pay more attention, be more aggressive, have different things that they're going after. But also now you put a target on the team's back that was successful during the in-season tournament. So you see the Pacers look extremely well throughout the in-season tournament. Then you see the Lakers look extremely well, winning the in-season tournament and raising the banner. So now, which I believe Shaq did talk about, but now teams are even more focused on the Lakers. So you already have the attention of being the Lakers, having a LeBron, having a Anthony Davis, and Darvin Ham, and all these. But now you go win an in-season tournament. You raise the banner. Now there's more attention to the Lakers. So you're getting a team. Every team is going to give you their best, even more. So again, I think tonight is a very important game. But the Clippers are hot right now. I think the Lakers need to find a way to cool them off because they're cooking right now, man. And we talking about many years as far as the Lakers being the big brothers of the Clippers. And that's what they have expected. That's what they have seen. But the Lakers desperately need this win.
Yeah, the Lakers, they need this win. I think for a lot of reasons. I think I look at one Darvin Ham. I think he needs this win because I don't know, people are really calling for his job. And I think he's got to, figure something out. Maybe change up the starting lineup again. The last game he had against the Grizzlies, who they lost to, they had Davis, James, Tony Prince, Cam Reddish, and Austin Reeves in the starting lineup. Not a lot of shooting there, to be honest with you. Not a lot of space in there. I mean, yeah, you got spacing with Reddish and Prince, but they're not really scaring you right now. They got to figure something out. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying a trade should happen, but some people are saying they should be in the running for Zach LaVine. I don't think Zach LaVine is going to solve their issues like that. And I think losing Gabe Vincent for a little while is hurting things because he's supposed to be you know that guy to kind of pick up the slack at the guard position, and he hasn't been healthy all year. So yeah, they need to win this game. If the Clippers lose this game, I don't think it's the end of the world for them because they've been playing pretty well. But why not, you know, put the Lakers in further disarray and beating the crap out of them at home? Why not come out like gangbusters tonight and put a big old stick like put a foot up their ass and show them like y'all ain't winning jack crap this year. A lot of people are knowing them the kings of the offseason. I know we did here. But if you're the Clippers, I'll be going balls to the wall. I'll be trying to put them out early. If you see people like Max Christie coming in and whoever else, take advantage of that. Do what you gotta do. But
yeah, it's gonna be a big game. I think obviously the Battle of LA, and I think this is gonna. There's a lot of people, a lot of Laker fans saying that Darvin Ham could be on the hot seat, and I think this is a very important game. So if they can get rolling here, kind of get things back on track. I'm not going to say it saves his job, but I think we don't hear as much about him being on the hot seat. So this game is very huge.
so again, we'll be live tweeting about here in a little bit. But going to the college basketball world of things, you were at the Pitt and USC game this past week with let me pull it up. I'm pulling it up. With UNC winning 70-57 this past last Tuesday. UNC gets the big time win on the road. They go to 10-3. Pitt fall to 9-5 at that time. You're new to Pittsburgh and new to that city. What was the atmosphere like with UNC coming to town and a Pitt team that's kind of like, trying to get things rolling and stuff like that in conference play? What was the environment there like for you up in Pittsburgh?
Well, to be honest, headed there, school is actually starting tomorrow, and this game was actually, I believe, was on Tuesday, correct?
Yes.
A lot of kids were not here yet, so I think you got a few kids that were here, but you have truly fans that are from Pittsburgh at this game. And Davidson, when I tell you this is probably the best, no knock to Tampa, because that's my city, shout out my city. But this is probably the biggest sports city I've ever been in. Like, they take their teams super serious, and they mean business. We obviously hear about the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I think, and they have a baseball and hockey, but they take all their sports teams serious. They go hard for the teams, which I love because it just shows, the commitment that they have. So the place was packed, man. I mean, I was expecting, me and one of my coworkers, one of the head coach, we were probably expecting it not to be too packed because school hasn't started yet. But that place was packed. And obviously, you had some North Carolina fans, and they travel pretty well. And the game was good for a while, but a few things I noticed. Armando Bacot, he looks bigger than what he's listed at 6'11", 240. He's going to be very good in the NBA once he makes them. Well, obviously, he's a senior. I think usually we see NBA college players leave at the freshman and sophomore year, but he played extremely well. That was a big notice for me. And the other was Blake Henson. Usually, he is one of the better players on the team. His shooting is lights out. He's shooting well, but this game he just wasn't connecting. Just seemed like something was off. I think that was the second or third game that he's been in a funk. They ended up shooting 17% 3-point land, 30% field goal. So Pittsburgh could have played better. Now I think that, to be honest, Pitt is going to be very good. If they can kind of get things going. They have these two 6'11" forwards, twins, Diaz Graham, those that have been watching college basketball. They are kind of that Chet Holmgren to them. 6'11", they can shoot. But RJ Davis was one that just could not be handled. He's very smooth, very, very smooth. And he didn't shoot that well that night either. He didn't really get to going. And because it was a conference game, both of these teams know each other. And, they kind of matched up good for a while. And I tell you where the game really changed. RJ Davis popped a 3 at halftime. He hit a buzzer. It was tied up, and he popped a 3. And as soon as he popped it, it kind of like after they came back at the second quarter, second half, North Carolina couldn't be stopped. And they just took over, man, grabbing everything off the glass. And Babcock, like I said, he was the one that played a huge part of that. But overall, man, it was a really exciting game to go to. Like I said, the only thing was with the traffic leaving, obviously. But Pitt brought out some good competition for a while. The next game that I plan to be at is when they play Duke. They play them Tuesday, January 9th. This one will start at 9. Another conference game. So I think that this team is going to be pretty good. But do watch out for North Carolina. If they can get things going, if RJ Davis can be consistent and play well, I think they've recently played Clemson recently. And again, RJ Davis, 14 and 4, 3 assists. Baycott with 16 boards and 14 points, double-double against number 16 Clemson. So North Carolina is going to be a team to watch out for. But again, and I had some really good seats, man. Some real good seats. So I think that this next game they play against Duke is going to be hype as hell as well. But that's one thing I've already noticed about Pittsburgh is, man, they take their sports very serious. You have some diehard fans, and for us as fans, those that are listening, that are sports fans, this city is a city that you would appreciate, unless you're an Eagles fan. But this is a city that you would definitely appreciate because they love their sport teams, and it shows. So I definitely plan on going to, like I said, that Tuesday game, which I definitely have pictures for that as well.
Well, that's awesome to hear. You say you do plan to go on any more basketball games this for during conference play?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm gonna definitely go to definitely see if I can make sure I go to the Duke matchup. There's a few other games that I was looking at that I plan on making a trip to or making a game to. I believe they played the women played Georgia Tech tonight. They ended up losing that game 68-58. So I was looking at that schedule as well. They have Louisville, number 17 Louisville. They have them Thursday. The women do. So I will try to make that one. See what that is. That one's about. But I had already looked ahead, knowing that they're going to play, Duke, and I knew I was like, yeah, I definitely got to make this one. I had texted you before. I said, I think I'm about to go to the Pitt in North Carolina game. You said, yeah, you got to go to that.
Oh yeah, that's
so yeah. So and my office is literally a building over. I had to figure out just what I was going to eat and everything before, but I was glad I went, man. I could definitely see the atmosphere, what they're about. And that makes me even more excited, just like I said, throughout the rest of the season, because, they're definitely going to have some more good, conference matchups coming up. If I look correctly, if I could double check really quick, I know for a fact that they have Duke, and then let me see exactly. I was trying to see what else they have coming up. Let me double check. They have, so they do. Here it is. Here they do have Duke coming up. That's going to be on ESPN at 9. They have Duke on the 20th at Duke. They have Notre Dame and Wake Forest later on down the line. And then they have Florida State, which I definitely will try to see that. So, yeah, man. I mean, I think, like I said, they had that place rocking, and now that school is back, it's definitely gonna be packed.
before we get out of here, looking at their schedule, they got Duke here on Tuesday, and then they got Syracuse at home on the 16th. That's a long stretch by playing games. But anyways, then they go on the road to Duke, and then you got to finish out the month, they go to road to Georgia Tech, and then they're on the road to Miami. Then they come back home for Wake Forest. What do you think? How do you think they should finish out the rest of the month? Because if they don't win, if they don't win more than 2 games, then you can probably kiss their tournament chances goodbye. But do you foresee this team, make a little run? And plus, you got the big road stretch right there at the end of the month. Can it make some noise and maybe say contention for a bubble spot in the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I believe that they could make a stretch. I mean, like I said, you look at it, you got Duke, Syracuse, you got the whole ACC, Georgia Tech, Miami, Wake Forest. You have some winnable games here, but I think because even being at the game, Blake Hinton Henson he just wasn't on. He just wasn't shooting that good that night. So if if he can get back on fire, then I think they'll be fine. The twins they got, both of the Graham twins, like those guys are huge pieces for him, and I just feel like Bangkok was just doing whatever he wanted. He just was grabbing everything off the glass. But also the reason for that too is, they could have shot. They could have shot a lot better. And again, shooting as bad as they did, like they could have, if they would have just made a few more shots. They only lost by 13, and that game it really, last couple minutes is when you shooting up anything to try to make some points you're missing, and North Carolina is getting fouled, it's going to the free throw line. So the game was close for the most part. They just have to get rolling. Now they did get the win against Louisville yesterday, which was a huge win, to get that streak, put them at 10-5. But the biggest thing that you see from that is Henson with 21 points, 5 for 14. percentage you're shooting, instead of shooting 17% from 3-point line, they shoot 35%. So you double that. Instead of shooting 36%, I believe 35% from the field goal, they go to 45. So if they can, put these, now obviously it's Louisville not being as talented or not as good as North Carolina, but if they can stack these wins, then they may have that chance. But the inconsistency is what can hurt them. Again, you're going to go against Syracuse. You're going to go against Duke too. Then you're going to go against Syracuse, who they lost to earlier than Duke. So these next 3 games, this can determine where the momentum goes. And I believe the one against Duke on Tuesday, that's probably going to be the ESPN one on ESPN. If you can go and steal 2 of these games, now that stretch with Georgia Tech, Miami, Wake Forest, you kind of can start stacking some good wins. But these next 3 is gonna play a huge part. So I'm glad that they bounced back, and they didn't let that snowball effect continue for them. But now, they got to get keep the momentum and keep it rolling. Sitting at 10-5, now they got to continue to play consistent. They can do that behind Blake Henson. I think they'll be fine.
All right. Well, you're here first. So, like I said, big matchup against Duke. They beat down lowly Louisville. Well, I think they make a coach change after the season. And we'll see if they can beat the Dukies come Tuesday night. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. I got a lot of stuff in. Glad y'all can tune in with us. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813 on Twitter. Instagram, I've had to change it to DLock813. Check me out. Like I said, I'm in the 412, which is Pittsburgh now. Let them know they can find you at the show's page.
You can find the show's page at Twitter/X at FastBreak@IESR. That's FastBreak@IESR. Do check out IE Sports Radio for all your latest show news and feeds as well. The playoffs are kicking off here next week. So our Buffalo show, Cleveland show, SoCal show. We just got New York back into the fold of things. What else? I know we don't got Detroit at the moment. We'll hopefully get that back up soon. Dallas with our brother Drewski, who will probably be at that Cowboy playoff game here this weekend. Miami. Who else I'm missing? Houston. All those shows, all those channels. Go to IESportsRadio.com. Get their show times. Get their Twitter handles. Follow them. And show your city some love and pride for this playoff run. Do check out Sports Radio on Twitter/X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We there. I do have a page, Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288 on X/Twitter. I do another show on the side called The Crooks Process. You can follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, The Crooks Process. You'll see the CP logo there. Do check that out. We'll be back next week, probably talking about Pitt versus Duke. NBA news, Draymond coming back, and all the world happening in the world of basketball. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.